how we were formed. Consider, secondly, how we are deformed. If we look at verse 4, the first part of that verse says, "And the vessel that he made of clay was marred in the hands of the potter." It was marred. In other words, there's a defect in the clay. The potter detects this defect. It's the tragedy of the Garden of Eden. What is the defect of mankind? It's original sin. Adam became a marred vessel, and since Adam, all men who were born have become marred vessels. This is the tragedy of all the human race. Paul tells us in Romans 3:23 that all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. We are marred in the hands of the potter. There's a defect. And when there's a defect, there's a difficulty. You see, when the pottery becomes marred and it's not shaping up as it should, it causes the wheel to become off balance. It gets wobbly. It hinders the work of the potter. And because of sin in our lives, mankind has become marred. And we see the difficulty that's been caused by this sin everywhere we look. We see it in the wheel of national life, in the crime and violence and immorality in our world today. We see it in the wheel of domestic life as families fall apart and teenagers become pregnant and as child abuse takes place and people are beating their mates. It's just terrible what we see in domestic life. We also see it in the wheel of personal life. People who were intended to be molded into something good for God, but they've become broken and hurting and lost. There's a defect and a difficulty. There's also a danger. You see, in the potter's house, over in the corner of the potter's main room where he does his work, there's a junk pile. And that's where the potter throws all those pieces that just simply refuse to be molded by him. When he decides this piece just will not submit, he throws it into the junk pile and he starts over with another piece. Jesus referred to a junk pile. If you remember a while back as we were studying the Sermon on the Mount, he talked about a junk pile called Gehenna. Just outside of the city of Jerusalem, this junk pile was a garbage heap, basically. And he said over and over, he said, don't throw your life into Gehenna. A place where there's constant fire, where the smell is terrible, where people throw their trash, their garbage. Don't throw your life into the universe's garbage heap. In other words, friend, if you're not saved today, you're in imminent danger. You're walking a tightrope over hell. And the sad truth is that tightrope could snap at any time. You'd be lost forever. There is a danger. Thank God there's more to the story.